Right.
So I'm like, I'll bet on myself all day, which, if you think about it, is another type of gamble. But it wasn't until I first started talking to you that I thought, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Because you and I talked last time about, the thing that keeps me up at night. I know there are people listening right now, and we could give them every tool and every tactic and every how-to. If they don't have the right mindset, if they're not willing to actually take action, which is a risk, and increase their risk tolerance, because my belief is, by and large, it's harder to get rich if you don't take some risk.
Yep.
It just seems harder. And that part, I've never had a really good solution for how we could teach them that. Because it's all the touchy-feely stuff, right? Like manifest and fluffy and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I'm not so good at that. Right. And so, but then I read this thing the other day that I want your take on. The quote was, "Making money isn't hard. Unlearning everything you know about it is. Money goes to people who treat life like strategy, not survival. This isn't about luck. It's about leverage, understanding the rules, then bending them in your favor." I think that's true.
I think there's a lot of truth to that.
I think there are a lot of things we're told about money that may or may not be true. And I'd be curious your take, if I could rapid fire some money sayings to you, and you could tell me what you think about that. True, false, and what are your thoughts? Okay. Here's the first. You should just save and skip the coffee.
I think you got to have your coffee. But, if you're not saving somewhere, we're really good at defense as well as offense. So, and I think you have to have members of your team on both sides. And if you're not enjoying yourself along the way, none of it's worth it.
Yeah. What about, if you deserve it, you'll get it?
It's a little tougher for me, I would say. An above average talent, right? And, we've done a lot of experiments at Peak Six on types of people we've hired. And maybe deserve is the same as the hard worker. I'm not sure. I don't hear it that way. But hardest working people are the people that have succeeded on our team. And people stay because they know they're rewarded for working their butt off. And the version of them that comes, right, it's not the most obvious person. I think Peak Six has done a really good job of bringing, a wide range, including a lot of females, more than anybody else in the market in terms of capital allocators. People are actually making decisions around money. Yep. We kill them. And, honestly, I think one of the reasons why we succeeded is because I brought a different viewpoint. You have to remember, this is 1997. Like, for my co-founder to choose a female, that wildly unheard of. Well, there was very few to pick from to begin with. Did I deserve it? Right? I worked my ass off.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I was watching a video the other day, and it was like, I just want you to keep repeating, I will be rich. I deserve to be rich. So I was like, we're going to need to add a few steps to this process, because I don't think that's not going to get you there.
Who can say it the most?
Yeah, I was like, a lot of conviction, the young woman had. But then I saw it had 1.5 million views. And I sat there thinking, oh man, sometimes we've got to ask ourselves, are the people that we're listening to the ones who have actually done the thing that we're trying to get?
Right.
That's why I think it's interesting when people who have made a lot of money, had a lot of success, are willing to talk about it. It's not that common.
Right.
Like, does it still feel weird for you to talk about, when people call you a billionaire, are you like, it feels
it's
weird.
Awkward.
Yeah, it feels awkward.
It's weird. But I also know, represent, it's important.
Totally.
So.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? We've had 3 female billionaires in here in the last week.
Wow.
Is that crazy? Because there's not very many. So then I was like, what's our percentage? We got a high swing ratio
That's
here.
pretty good.
I was like, this is pretty good. What do you think about be patient? Wealth comes with time.
For sure. Time is massively important. It's definitely a marathon. It's not a sprint. I do think there are, moments that are not exactly that, right? Unexpected days, we make a lot more money than we should have. We tell our traders too, when you have that great year, think about it over a 3-year time frame. Don't think about it as today's money. We don't want, because traders can be like athletes in many ways, way too much money at too young of an age. And we're really proud that people tend to stay a really long time with us. And being a role model who's conservative around spending, right? We're really also super conscientious there. Maybe too much so. We've definitely been criticized for that in the past. Like, we're watching the pennies too closely. I'm just like, well, if you don't want me to watch your pennies, I won't, but I'm going to watch mine. So
What you said you do a lot of experiments at Peak Sinks. What are some experiments you do with your employees or to determine strategies? Because it does seem like you're a very systems-oriented thinker.
Yeah, we are. Well, we like to know what is working. It's really hard to discern, what actually it is. I'll give you this. This is a fun example. So my co-founder grew up playing hockey. 6 years in, we got married, as an FYI. So I know him very well, and but always interested in the NHL. And so when the opportunity was there to potentially, be part of a team, we were looking at it. At the time, so let's call it, early 2000s, there were like 6 guys talking about hockey statistics on internet, and he was one of them, but they're all really bright. And we said, well, what if we took all of those people and we just brought them in as a class? And is there something about their approach, the way they think, that might make a different type of options trader? We did that with poker players many years ago, before I knew poker. We've done that with taking the smartest people that would possibly come to us. That was a complete fail, by the way. But anyway, so back to our hockey people. So they came on and they were okay. They weren't great traders, but they were there working on, hockey analytics. So if indeed we ever had a team or not. Anyway, they ended up leaving, going to hockey teams. And we were talking about this the other day, which is why I was thinking about it. I think the last 12 Stanley Cups, 5 were either 1, I think 4, and then 1 was second place. Whatever, runner up, whatever you call them, loser. But we're ex-Peak Six data people.
Wow.
They're data people for the hockey teams, but yeah, ex-Peak Six employees.
So you're like, what's that movie with the baseball guy?
Moneyball.
Yeah, you're like the Moneyball of NHL.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, Matt loves. So
should you have taken a little piece of those teams?
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, the Panthers is one of them. But we ended up being part of the Minnesota Wild for a little while.
Interesting.
And
that's crazy.
Then not anymore. But
so then, is it true that the smartest people that you've hired for traders do not make the most money?
We train people have no knowledge coming in. So you don't have to know. You don't have to have a finance background, an econ background. You could have a history background. Matt has an English major. So I was an English major. I was a business major. So we're looking for people at the end of the day who work really hard, who are curious. And obviously they have to be above average intelligence to get into the math side of options trading.
As measured by IQ? Do you give people IQ tests?
We don't give them IQ tests, but there are lots of interesting, mathematical ways to solve problems. Yeah. Google, when they first started all those creative ways of testing people, we like to do that too.
Do you have like a question you ask them every time? If I want to come work for Ginny, do I got to?
No, we don't. No, because I obviously don't interview the young kids anymore, but we keep it fresh because there's so much sharing and stuff that happens now. But
otherwise they'll cheat.
But there's a lot of culture that's involved in our hiring too. We're different than a bunch of the other trading firms on who we bring in and who we don't bring in. But it is, they love it when they come. Like that is one of the things we're most proud of. Though the other interesting thing is they leave. We haven't had any ex-Peak Six people really create a firm like we created a firm.
Interesting.
Though that is also true of many. You see that actually some of the other financial firms, you'll find some, but not so much. It doesn't happen that often, right? There's not that many option trading firms, for example. So, but the Susquehanna, who was O'Connor, where we were a competitor forever, is still there.
Yeah.
Right? So,
I met a bunch of those guys at AEI. I think I was telling you last time, and I didn't. To be fair, I didn't really understand.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in finance, I was in private equity and asset management, but like index funds, commingled funds, that sort of thing. Yeah. And I always thought about trading. Maybe I did that in the beginning, but it was really like arbitrage trading. Mm-hmm. It was like for State Street, just making a market.
Right.
And then I met those guys, and I was like, And I think I could say this about them and they would be fine with it. I was like, you guys are weird. Like, this is a different crew.
Yeah,
you know?
it's a whole different animal for sure.
Yeah, they're like physicists and rocket scientists that now trade online. So half of what you're looking for are these people who basically just see the world slightly different. There's some like sort of asymmetric little spin they have.
There is.
That everybody else doesn't have.
Because it's really a commodity at the end of the day. But, you know, being in equities, this is what I always say, especially for females, like companies are about people's stories, right? Just like here, you know, it's about your story. And following people is really interesting. Following the AI story is really about the people who are doing it. And so I think it's a great place in the equity world for women to get their feet dirty, because they draw out that and they have real nuances about what they can understand or not understand. Again, because I see myself, like why was I able to? I was trained by someone who's really good at what they did, and that's what we do for our people. So if you're interested in the markets at all, going on the equity side is a really interesting place to start.
Is the framework for being able to take more risk and thus potentially have more reward, it sounds like, and tell me if this is wrong, so something like you have to do it more. This is your compounding experience.
Yep.
Then you have to do it, I don't want to say the correct way, but with some sort of mentorship or guidance. Just any sort of risk taking, probably not great. It has to be some sort of structured risk taking.
I think it helps. It helps move the ball systematically forward.
Yeah.
I don't think it has to be, but I do think that helps for sure.
And then what's the next step? If it's take a lot of risks, structure the risks, and then take bigger risks?
I think the next step is, again, there's this idea of risk management that I'm doing. How am I evaluating my doing? And you need time to go by. We don't know if a trader is going to be great at their job or not for a while. Just like you can go and be a beginner poker player and be a pro. You can. That happens, you know? And so you need enough time to go by, and then some assessment of that data to start to tell a story. It's like playing a hand versus playing, you know, an entire game of poker. That's where the hands add up to the game. And hopefully, you know, the game, you know, that your table, then you're moving. It's like more like a tournament, right? Then I'm moving on to the next table, and I'm moving on to the next table. So along the way is, and maybe it's, you know, the context switching happens so much as you're taking risk. You open yourself, like your aperture opens up so much that your regrouping becomes more important, not less important. Like as we take more risk in AI, I make sure we step back and say, okay, is that really what we meant to do? Because all of a sudden we're in so deep. You know, it's the same thing, you know, like I'm on the turn, I'm on that fourth card that comes out on the table, and I've got a lot of money in this thing. The one thing as a trader you do, you go home at night, you mark to market everything. If I had to start tomorrow, would I do exactly what I'm doing today? If I didn't, and if I shouldn't, and I should pivot, I got to get out. I got to get out of that hand in some way. And some things you can't get out of, obviously. It's one thing to fold the poker hands, and another thing to get out of a business or a business line or something along those lines. But the reassessment, the loop, right? You don't have to go all the way back to the beginning. Once, you know, you're on 10 times of doing this, you're going back to 5, and you're reassessing the 5 to 10 because you got better. You went to a different level, 1 to 5, then you went to 5 to 10, right? And you're going to come back and reassess, you know. I mean, I think there's no stopping learning. I think people think once you get to a certain like dollar amount or something, like, ooh, you know it, you know the answer. Oh no, there's a lot more to come, right? I remember, you know, Matt used to say, you know, so what's your number? Right.
Yeah, totally.
And we all would say it to each other in some form. It was $10 million, right? Then it was $100 million. Like, wait, so then what? Right? It's the same idea. How do you, life moves, right? And if you have figured out a way, it's not a given. I mean, we've had some serious investments that have been really big valuations that have gone to zero. Like we're talking 13 billion, a zero. So those are real.